Joining us now, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Welcome and happy Mother's Day to everybody watching, and a special happy Mother's Day to my beautiful wife.
Yes, appropriate way to start. Now let's dig into the business of the day, which is the talks in Switzerland with us and China. You have said, listen, this is going to take potentially dozens of talks. What can you tell us about managing expectations on a timeline when something could come together?
Well, Secretary Bessent has made it clear one of his objectives is to de-escalate. 145% and 125% are really, those are kind of tariffs where you're not trading with each other. So he's there to see if we can reset the conversation, and he's at it right now. So I'm going to leave it to him of how he deals with it. But that's the objective, to de-escalate.
Well, the Wall Street Journal has said, too, that in our talks with other countries, and I know you're involved in many of getting these deals, trying to get them together, that part of it has been about pressuring these other countries when it comes to China. Here's what the Wall Street Journal reported. The idea is to extract commitments from U.S. trading partners to isolate China's economy in exchange for reductions in trade and tariff barriers imposed by the White House. The idea being not to let China flood these other countries with their products or to relocate things to these areas where they would avoid U.S. tariffs. Are those part of your conversations, those themes?
No. That's fake news. I mean, we are focused on Americans, right? President Trump's idea is to bring the golden age back to America, to reshore manufacturing, to build here, to have those people who build here not pay any tariffs. And if you want to build overseas, okay, you'll pay tariffs and you'll be less competitive in America, so build here. I mean, that's the idea. Open your markets if you want to continue to, to not bring things home to America. Open your markets, let our exporters sell to you, finally get some fair trade, and let's bring lots of manufacturing back to America. But we are not, under any circumstances, focused on China when we're talking to other countries. When we're talking to China, of course our trade team is focused on China. But when we talk to other countries, there was no conversation in the UK or India or Japan or any of these other countries about China. Leave China alone. We are trying to grow America.
Okay, so you mentioned the UK deal, a big feather in the cap of the administration. You were right there with the president as he's making this announcement. And it begs the question now about that 10% tariff. Is that going to be the baseline? Here's what the president said Friday.
But basically, you have a baseline of a minimum of 10%. And some of them will be much higher, 40%, 50%, 60%, as they've been doing to us over the years.
So those numbers may sound really good to China if you're talking about 145 or 80%, but how are those numbers landing with the other folks you're negotiating with?
So you saw on Liberation Day, the president put out a whole series of tariff rates. And then the objective is to bring manufacturing back to America and also lower those rates. So those countries, each of those countries can open their markets, make a more fair trading deal with America, allow Americans to export to their country. Finally, in a way, you saw in the UK, we opened their market, $5 billion of exports. Many of these countries will be, because they have bigger economies, even bigger. And our idea is have the Americans be able to export to those countries, grow America, right? Ranchers, produce, vegetables, machinery, ethanol, things like that. Sell to those countries, lower their tariff rate, and then bring manufacturing back to America. So I think we're very, very focused on America's golden age coming. We're going to make trade more fair, and it's going to work brilliantly for Americans, both if you make it here, there's no tariff, and we can sell much, much more fairly everywhere in the world.
So Americans are watching and hoping for those long-term benefits, but our polling shows they're pretty skeptical at this point. 72% tell us they think tariffs are going to make the things they pay for right now more expensive. And a majority of them think that tariffs are actually hurting our economy. I mean, how do you work against that perception with messaging while people wait in the interim for something to happen?
You just do trade deals, right? Like, look at the UK deal. Right? Just look at that deal. It opens the UK market for the first time to $5 billion of exports. I mean, go talk to a beef rancher right now or a corn farmer right now. They are ecstatic. They've never been allowed into the UK market, and now they'll be allowed. So each of these countries, we're going to break open their non-tariff trading barriers, get our people the ability to export there. That's going to be great. We're going to have huge jobs in manufacturing. You've heard the president talk about trillions and trillions of factories being built in America. Those are construction jobs starting now, and then those products will not have tariffs on them. So I just completely disagree. What you're going to see is prices are going to stay stable once this policy is done. You got to give the president a chance to run it. But over the next 3 months, this policy is going to show trade deal after trade deal, opening markets, reshoring manufacturing, and no tariff charged if you make it in America.
Okay, so let's talk about in the interim, because we've got reports out on the West Coast that there are hundreds of dock workers now out of work as those ships are not coming in, the ripple effect there, hitting the trucking industry and others as well. One union official out there says it's beginning to manifest itself as real loss of jobs and income from our members. So what do you say to those American workers?
I say to those American workers, Scott Bessent is in Geneva right now talking to his counterparties in China, right? Remember, this is just a China problem right now, right? We have 145% tariff. They have 125% tariff. Those tariffs are too high to do business. But that's why they're talking right now. The rest of the world is 10%. So don't overdo it. The rest of the world is 10%. They're sending their goods here, as the president has said time and time again. We are the consumer of the world. Everybody wants to sell their goods here, so they need to do business with America, and we're using the power of our economy to open their economy to our exporters. So that is happening right now. Yes, Scott Bessent is in Geneva talking to his counterparties right now, and let's see what happens. But the president said last night he was very optimistic and very positive, so you should be very optimistic and positive because the president truthed it out. And I rely on the president.
Okay, well, no surprise to you, I don't think, that the Washington Post is not among your biggest fans. Here's what they say. Lutnick's economically incoherent and contradictory commentary. They say economists agree that tariffs are paid by importers, such as U.S. companies, which in turn pass on most or all of the cost to consumers or producers. Here's how Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer puts it.
President Trump's trade war is economic arson on our main streets, and these folks are getting scorched.
He didn't vote for you. I don't think you guys are probably besties. Is there any room, though, to work with Democrats on some of these issues?
I don't think so. I mean, I remember Chuck Schumer holding a can of Corona when the tariffs came out. I mean, imagine doing that and not holding a can of American-made Coors. I mean, why? Why would you hold up a Mexican can and say, we support Mexican production? First, it's America first. How about we support American production first? Let's bring production to America. Let's employ Americans. That's sort of a key thing. Let's employ Americans. Let's build in America. No tariffs on American goods. And then if you want to sell to America, okay, you pay a tariff that makes the American goods more competitive. But we know from experience from Trump's first term that the consumers don't pay for the tariffs. They need the products coming in. They need to compete in America. So they've got to cut their price, they've got to cut their margins, and they've got to compete here. So this concept that just prices go up, you'll buy American goods, and to be competitive, the foreigners will have to cut their price. You saw it with the Asians. They've already announced they're not raising their prices on their cars that are coming in, even though there's a tariff. It proves the point. Don't buy into these economists who are just not in the real world, right? Look at the UK deal. It is working.
Well, the proof will be in the pudding. American workers and consumers are watching closely. Secretary Lutnick, we wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you, and happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.